like harder and harder. But
Okay.
all right. Well, I'm here with Scott.
Hello, I'm Scott.
He's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
He's the
Pretty new friends too.
pretty new, but we went on
3-4 years.
we went on a whole bunch of adventures together. Cemented the friendship pretty quick.
Yeah. Around the world.
Around the world in 80 days. So I want to talk about your religion.
Yeah. Let me talk about that and any answer any questions you have about it, because it's new to me. It's not the religion I was born with. It's a different one. Get this camera a little bit of
Yeah, it looks like we forgot to fix the cameras, but they're still recording. So
okay. Perfect.
So yeah, what inspired you to become the next Joseph Smith?
Yeah. Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith.
100% actually.
Really?
Yeah. Goes far back, but let me at least start with why Joseph Smith. So we're here in a state called Utah, and it was basically an incubator for new religion for 100 years, where it was a safe place for people to leave the East, where Joseph Smith started in New York, big town, or at least a big city for that time, or wherever the population was. And after his death, his murder, whatever you want to call that, the Mormon population came out here to hide from persecution and make a religion. And I'm a business. I'm an entrepreneur. So as I keep thinking back on the story of Joseph Smith, he's just an entrepreneur that started a thing. That's really what any religion is. If you really look at it in like modern day sense, it's just a person with an idea that had, in a lot of ways, they claim to have spiritual intervention, right? But that's how I felt about all the companies I've started, and I was moved by a dream or a vision to create something, and created it. So not that different than religion, just different business model in a way.
Pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah. So Joseph Smith did that. I'm like, I live in a state that was started by a man's vision, and a great vision, or a big vision, that's turned into a very wealthy corporation and a very, very meaningful part of a lot of people's lives. I'm like, I've done a lot of inks that, or like businesses that were selling a ware or a software or some type of thing, a widget. I haven't done the religion one yet. And so why Joseph Smith is inspirational to me is I think he's one of the greatest American founders.
Yeah.
I hate him or love him, he done found something.
Hundreds of years later, people are still all about it.
And one of the weirdest things is they're plowing money into it.
Yeah, 10% of your money.
10% of your money, then they willingly give it. It's not like it's not like tax.
Yeah, there's no ad spend or anything.
There's a lot of ad spend. Like, that's what I'm finding out is it is actually a business.
Okay.
The religion of business is a real thing. I mean, they're doing a lot of things to get you to spend that money, to feel like you need to give that money. There's a process. The business has a like anything. There's a product. There's a way it makes you feel. There's a way to keep you subscribed.
Yeah.
And I was asking myself a lot of questions of, is that what religion is? Is it always just a business? Can a religion be sans monies and corporation, like as we know it? Does it have to here in America? Do you have to formulate a religion the same way you do business? And so I hit my head really hard, as you know, 7 months ago, and I couldn't really do anything. I had a traumatic brain injury, broke my back. I was skiing and literally hit my neck.
Yeah.
Got whiplash.
Awful.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, it was injuries are never good. They take points away from our longevity. It's like I probably lost 10 years, and I have just lived with that. But my coming back online has been really, really incredible, and I had a lot of time. I couldn't have any stimulation for my brain at first, so I didn't have any phone for a few months, or computers or movies.
Wow.
So I was brute forced into being mindful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was on a mindfulness kick
That's
for,
really cool though.
yeah.
Yeah. Like you could get back in touch with your inner self and like the the spiritual surroundings
Yeah.
of life. Yeah. No, technology really takes away from that. I remember when I was a missionary, like I remember just looking up at the clouds and things and being like, wow, nature's beautiful, you
Hmm.
know, because you don't have, a screen to look at. You don't
Yeah.
have all that garbage to distract you. And then when it's out of your face, you can kind of feel what probably our ancestors were feeling all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time, this kind of spiritual nature high. But
And we didn't have all the answers. I mean, your PhD, you have all the answers now. And
yeah,
a lot of our ancestors didn't know what the clouds were doing, how they're, how the trees were. It's like the more we learn about nature, for some reason, it maybe when we start answering the questions with science, we start to, they may, maybe, I don't know, this is just me, maybe they awe us a little less. And so, because we've like, oh, we figured that out. And I think that, um, set my brain, I think it's set me on a point where I thought, um, I found for growing up, at least, religion was the where I grew up Mormon, and so that was where like the unknowns were. It didn't feel like I wasn't at the frontier space. That wasn't what I could do as a kid, really. Like
yeah,
the West had already been settled, and so mysticism and spirituality seemed to be a place where we didn't have um, all the answers, but the Mormon Church definitely tried to give me the answers,
yeah,
like in lesson plans and books, and they had an answer for everything, which seemed very different than what would have been it been like maybe 1600, 1500. So I was always like, I love the Mormon Church. I'm so lucky I was born into the Mormon Church, where I know where I came from, I know where I'm going, I know exactly what to do to get to each level of heaven, and how every birth there's milestones all along the way to get married in temple, to get the priesthood, to get the all these things. So it kind of fed a little, it satisfied me away, but then um I think I started to after the injury the most. So I've kind of distanced myself from organized, structured religion probably like 10 years ago after reading a book called Sapiens. And that allowed me to just think that everything was made up and it's okay. But like the corporations, Volkswagen was made up, so is our governments. It's just humans coming together using language to try to put some order and into the world. And for the most part, it's great for peace and
yeah,
prosperity.
yeah, yeah. They put together these constructs. I don't know. It's if you watched Westworld, but I think he was talking about how all the buildings and things are just a giant, elaborate mating ritual. Uh, maybe I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but no, I read that *Sapiens* book too. That's a good one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember 2015. I remember where I was. I remember feeling like a burning in my bosom of the truthfulness
of
of the facts
*Sapiens*.
that it was saying. And I'm like, this is what I was supposed to feel when I read the Book of Mormon, and I'm feeling it for Naval Harari, or this guy who's
Yeah,
writing
yeah.
it, some Lebanese born. I think he was atheist at the time, or I don't even know.
Yeah,
He doesn't really talk about
I
his
think he's a
religion.
secular Jew.
Yes, like they're Jew, and
Yeah.
like, how's he hitting me so hard with the spirit from the truthfulness of these words? It was confusing a
Yeah.
little bit for a person like me to find such truth in these other words. And so I went on a decade long religious ambiguity, like stage of ambiguity, where I didn't really, I was still going to Mormon church. My kids were raised in it. I would do the functions and forms of the church, like baptizing my kids and pray and fast and go to the public building. The community was still there and important, but eventually it just kind of um, looked less and it just less and less didn't feel like it was what my family was going to grow into.
Yeah.
It was just not, my kids were not really about it. They were seeing some signs of the community just having homophobia,
Oh, yeah.
and were just not their way. And then my wife, same thing. So it's just, we never like had we never felt duped or jaded by the whole thing. It wasn't that type of thing. I mean, even after giving nearly $1 million in tithing to that corporation,
Corporation.
you can't get that back.
Oh,
and I don't know where it went. I have no idea. Doesn't really matter. I can't think about that too much. I've lost money before in other places, and you
yeah.
just have to let it go.
Just keep moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere, put some windows in a temple somewhere that someone's enjoying as they meditate in that exclusive building that no one can go into unless they're worthy. So I don't have any. I'm not. I'm happy with everything. How I'm actually really glad I got to be Mormon,
Yeah.
go on a Mormon mission to Italy and do it. And I still am Mormon.
Yeah.
Um, the best way I can describe it, and talking to AI has helped me a little bit. I it's just I graduated, so I'm an alumni of Mormonism, and it's like I love finding other people who are either in it or graduating or alumni, because there's a lot of shared understanding and language that we can have.
Yeah. That's a good way to
Like
put
you.
it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I went down that exact same path. No, I think, yeah, I went through my atheist phase or whatever, but I feel like as humans, it's not that we need spirituality. Like a lot of people get by fine as just like straight up atheists or whatever, but I do feel like we evolved to use it and want it. And I feel like with Joseph Smith, I think he saw that, and unfortunately, it was a product of its time. So yeah, like at the time, everybody was racist and homophobic, right? And so yeah, it it used a lot of the great things of the period, right? With like families are important, obviously, and friendships important, and communities important. But unfortunately, just like the Old Testament, it had some backwards, unevolved values. And then if you're a traditionalist, you have to carry those things, right?
Yeah,
And so you have
that's
to
true.
balance that in your brain, where it's like, oh, this has all this good stuff, but what's with the racist stuff? Why is that there? But it's like you said, it's a corporation, it's a product of,
The product is evolving.
yeah. And so
The problematic thing for me, I think, in my religious journey was, and this was the whole time, the entire time I was in the meeting, sacrament, being a missionary, was the truth. The truth claims that this is the one true church.
yeah.
That part never, just my actual being felt, um, that felt distant to me. It didn't feel true. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like, as a human, that I had somehow landed upon the one true thing, and that the people around me had less truth than me. It put me in a really awful state, honestly, in my mission. The way that I was conflicted of, like, am I here to teach Catholic people in Italy about Mormonism, or I knew that I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more what they had to teach me, but I was in this mode of having to teach, not receive, and it was just very, very difficult to think that I had the truth, and that that they had, that they were in this dark. I mean, we call it the church. Our church was restored because there was this dark ages
Yeah.
of this period of people where they were
That's
just,
got to be hard. Yeah, teaching Catholics that they're the fallen church and you're
yeah.
the restored one.
It just never added up to me, and it felt wrong in my very being. Like, just like whatever I was born with never was going to ever jive with that idea that there was one pathway to somehow find. If you didn't find it, you were going to get baptized and converted as a spirit being after death
Yeah.
in our temples. Doesn't add up still.
No. Well, from a marketing standpoint, it's genius though.
That's
It's like,
and that's
and that's why the first commandment is probably "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," because you don't want people straying. Did that irk the Catholics a lot when you told them that this is the one true church, and
I didn't really. It was implied. It
you
was
shied
implied. It was
away?
implicit, but it wasn't explicit. So they didn't really. But this is why we had zero success with the Catholics. I mean, I would say that the Italians there didn't.
They weren't having it.
They weren't having it. They're not. There's many reasons. They like their coffee. They like their wine. And they like their
Yeah.
women. They like their religion. They like their family. They're not going to give up
Yeah.
literally their citizenship
Their essence.
to do that. And some do. Some have. Very few have. most of the people in the church over there were immigrants that wanted community in a new land.
Yeah.
And so it was beautiful. I got to know a lot of Peruvians and Ecuadorians, Colombians, and some Spanish. And so that they kind of built up the church. But the church, you could feel that the church didn't really want that. They really wanted the Catholics that were Italian, because that would build the base. And they got a lot of them in the 70s, but they had a hard time getting any of them in the 90s and 2000s. I can't speak for what's going on now, but
probably not so good. Yeah, Japan, that really irked to the Japanese when we told them that this is God's church and blah blah blah. Yeah, there's a saying, it's like there's many paths to the top of Mount Fuji. And so saying that no, this is the one path, like that really bothered people. You had to be
so they
really
actually
careful.
have sayings
that like completely contradict because they're like, oh, for this person they should be Buddhist, or this person they should be Shinto. And so if you come out and say like, no, this is God's one true church, that really bothered people.
That's interesting. My dad did the Fukuoka mission in the 80s, or no, 70s.
He was probably really successful, right? Back then, at least. No,
not too many people, but ironically, he had a few baptisms and he knows the people. And currently, I am a business partner with the son of the woman he baptized 45 years ago.
No way.
He lives with me right now in my I have a barn dominium, and he's in that barn, and we're doing projects together. And we were talking this morning. I had a meeting with him at 8:00, and it often goes back to this, like, so beautiful that we have a shared upbringing of Mormonism and also a shared departure from that. I should evolution. I don't even like the words leaving, departure, exmo.
Experienced.
All of them, all of those things really imply that there's just this kind of jagged edging of like you have to leave things or fall away from things or distance yourself. And I'm like, that just doesn't feel like my story.
No.
I'm evolving through it. I graduated. Yeah, I'm not an active subscriber. You know what I mean? I paused my Netflix subscription on Mormonism at the moment.
That's a really funny way to put it. You're on pause right now. You've got it.
I mean, I might come back someday. They might do some things. I'm like, okay, that sounds like I see the benefits of the subscription now. I might resubscribe.
No, yeah, and I think if Mormonism went through like a either a renaissance or because every religion, Catholicism, even a lot of the Protestant religions, they kind of have to adapt with the times, right?
100%, yeah.
And
you're seeing that with Mormonism right now.
It is.
Or some other religions,
but
for sure.
But they're not going all in. It's kind of like a wishy-washy, like, oh, okay, maybe
just enough to be safe.
Just enough to be, yeah. But like, just go through a full and the glory of Mormonism too is they believe in modern day revelation.
Yeah,
and so they could adapt and
they could do whatever they want.
And
they are. I mean, the garments are getting
a
little bit more revealing with every new prophet. So really soon we're gonna have straight up like lingerie garments, and it's like, and that might get maybe they'll be designer now. He's like, okay, I'll try this.
It's like Victoria's Secret that has like a garment section.
I mean, that would be and like that sounds ridiculous, but someone's saying, I think one of the apostles says the Mormon Church will be unrecognizable in a decade or something.
I believe it. I believe it.
Good.
Because, yeah, like you said, your kids, they didn't like the homophobic stuff, the racist stuff. And at the time, 1850s, it was considered moral and just.
There would have been no like division among, that wouldn't have been a case there.
No, it's like right up there with pedophilia or something. They're like, yeah, well, duh, of course you don't do gay stuff. And so he was just trying to read the room, I guess. But as stuff evolves, you can't stay old.
Speaking though, since we are like on a podcast kind of like thinking of the future, like it would be so rad to be a part of a movement where the religion was ahead of the populace. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what kind of Joe Smith did do. He was hitting people with new stuff and like, whoa, revelation was coming. I didn't see that coming out in today's conference and stuff. But now it just feels like this slow moving ship that is is only trying to figure out how do we slowly respond to the fact that the world is completely changing.
Yeah.
What if they did hit? What if they hit with something so like kind of revolutionary that people like that it was like jerk neck to the membership, or like this guy must be a false prophet. This and then 15 years it was like, wow,
Yeah.
that was, and I think they could do things that would literally bring in hundreds of millions of new members.
Yeah. Oh, for
Easily.
sure.
And it's just not, and it does seem like membership growth is the goal. And I've talked to some very successful billionaires that are Mormon, and they have their own ideas of what they would do to grow the church.
Really?
And it's brilliant. And I wish they would become apostles, because
Yeah.
I like their approach to it.
Well, so many things are good and necessary, like community and family and everything. It's just people go online and they read some of the history, and then I don't think we should judge our ancestors too much.
No, I think they're all gangsters. They're beautiful, wonderful,
Yeah.
and I love gangsters.
Brigham Young and stuff.
Mhm.
He was hardcore.
Mhm.
But maybe in 100 years they'll see us in our factory farming and think we're demons as well. But like, yeah, I think it's got so much good in it, and then if it can just adapt and change, and because there's no real replacement on the other side, like with atheism and that kind of stuff, there's nothing. Like there's some people try and make secular groups and things like that, but
there's and so this kind of leads to the next thing, my religion. I went way off back, but it's important to establish what I got from Mormonism, what I learned, because that led to what I am doing now and what I'm practicing.
Yeah.
And as I saw my kids, and I'm doing some estate planning. I've had some success as an entrepreneur, and I have money that would have gone to tithing if I was a traditional believing Mormon is now, I'm just like, what do I do with my estate, my legacy, and what am I passing down? And I thought about that after my head got injured for months and months. And I just thought I was reading a lot of books, read a really good one from Deepak Chopra about Buddhism. It was my first like real good intro to what Siddhartha, how he became the Buddha. And it was, it was stylized a little more for modern reading, but it really hit me. And then I was reading just in general. I didn't read a lot before because my ADHD never allowed me to like sit and do anything like that. I was always on the go. And so this head injury got me reading, I was doing puzzles, doing Legos, and I was just being mindful and present. And so a lot of things were coming up as far as like what I was having conversations with my kids like I've never had before, and like just thinking about I didn't really love being a religiousless family.
yeah,
Or, especially when you're going with your family and they all have these things, these rituals and stuff, and they have these things they do around weddings and deaths and births, and I'm like, I don't want to just be a void and emptiness of I'm an entrepreneur. I can solve this one. I know how to do this. I can make a religion. And it just kept coming back to me. It's like, Scott, your next thing is to found a religion. You're supposed to be a religious founder. I'm like, okay. Seems right. I mean, it wouldn't be that out of the ordinary for the people who know me. It's like, yeah, of course he's started a religion. It's like, so it doesn't shock anyone, unfortunately. I thought it would be a little more shocking.
like, we were just waiting for it, actually. About time.
So unfortunately, I did a whole post, so it hit me. So I've been writing every day for about a year on my blog, scottspost.com. So it's kind of where I publish whatever random thoughts I have. One of my big ones that had a lot of feedback and talking was when I was in Italy, went back to my mission and wrote just kind of a feeling deeply a gratitude for what Italy taught me and how I became who I became, but also that I was very glad that I didn't convert people. It was very hard to convert people, and I went back to the church that I was at in Genova on the Ligurian coast there, and it was kind of a sad place.
It was totally in ruins after you were there.
No, it's just well, everywhere I served,
dystopian nightmare.
Everywhere shut down that I served, so they're all gone except for Genova. But the place was it had a sadness, and I saw people that I just like, oh man, I don't know. I'm so glad I didn't put more people into this club. was community, and that people stayed in their Catholic communities out
Yeah.
there, because that's the strength. These places, I didn't need to bring my Americanism to an ancient place like Italy,
Yeah,
and try
the
to
heart
put
of
them in. Yeah.
Catholicism.
So I had this gratitude that I was an unsuccessful missionary.
In retrospect.
And I wrote about it. And that was really one of like the main times I put out there my feelings towards my past. And it was with a lot of love and gratitude. It wasn't like, I don't regret anything. I love my mission. I wish everyone would go on a mission. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's like
amazing
go on
experience.
missions.
Yeah.
But that I kept writing, got injured. My wife put out a post about the injury on my blog. And then, I mean, the ironic thing about my blog is I post every day at 4:20. Exactly. Sorry. And so on 4:20, April 20th, that morning I woke up. I'm like, I'm going to declare my first vision.
The stars aligned.
I'm going to talk about the religion. And it wasn't even really built. There's nothing. There's still nothing. It's still just a awakening that I had personally. But because I'm an open sharing person, I wrote up a blog about it, and it's the sun religion.
Yeah.
It's the religion of the sun, and it's for me. And if Natalie, my wife, wants to participate, and if my kids feel drawn to it, great. That's it. I don't even think it has a name. It's basically just the sun. And there's symbols and everything. And I've been all over the world, and I started to realize everywhere I go, I've been in places where they worship. At one point in life, the sun was the center of their life. I just came back from Ireland, and the Gaelic, the old Irish Neolithic period was pagans that had built all their structures around the sun and the solstices, and
Stonehenge, right?
yeah, and all these other things. So I'm just like, the sun. I started thinking about it, and I'm talking hours and hours, more than I've ever thought of Jesus. Or I just started thinking about the sun and all of the ways that it's been in my life since my eyes formed. And I'm like, there's nothing more true to me than the fact that the sun gives life, feels good, grows food, lets me see and illuminates everything. And then all the best feelings and thoughts I've had usually come while walking or being in the sun. And it's the center of everything. If we don't have it, so I'm just like, what caused us to take our eyes off of the focus of the sun being the thing that probably matters? And it's, well, scientists figured out that it's just a big ball of burning gas.
Yeah.
Not worthy of probably the worship of the mystical two-legged being. And I just thought, I think my path is to actually go back to basics and just have gratitude for the sun.
Ooh, the solar god.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's this book called Improv. I never would have read it if my friend didn't introduce it to me, but it talks about putting on a mask and the power in it. And there's some African tribes and stuff that gave so much power to a mask that they would have to hide it until the ritual, because it really emboldened them. But the point I'm trying to get at is, I feel without religion or spirituality, like your sun worship, I feel like you can't really become your true potential. And I feel like if you put on a mask, whether it's sun worship or Jesus worship or whatever, you still get the benefits. And I feel like you almost need to do it. And there's just a part of you that needs to be fed. And I mean, clearly, 95% of the world believes in some kind of a God. And I feel like if you put on the mask, whether it's, Druid, I'm kind of interested in Druidry. I actually interviewed a couple Druids, really fascinating. I'm kind of the same way. It's like, well, I'm most happy in nature.
Yeah.
Right. And I've never been sad, sitting around a fire, hanging out with people, And so it's like, well, that should be, and you can call it worship, you can call it a hobby, you can call it whatever, but you need something, right?
Yeah.
And it almost needs to be on a religious or spiritual level, because you need some kind of a grounding stake that pushes you and moves you forward. And so, yeah, whether it's a son or just anything, like you just need that. And I feel like getting back to, a biological perspective, I know I do it too much, but I feel like we've evolved to be that way. And every time there's like some kind of an atheist movement, it dies out as fast as it grows,
Mm.
which is crazy, right? Like the whole Dawkins Hitchens thing that grew recently. The next generation, they kind of ignore them. They're like, no, you need something. They're like going back to church. And same thing with like the Romans, where were like, oh, this is all nonsense. Christianity came in and was like, no, we need this. And then the Holy Roman Church and everything. Yeah. And if you have to put on a mask, so be it. If you need to find a way to find something that works for you, that and it's not even necessarily like to make you happy, it's just to make you whole, because I've seen so many people try and fill that hole with drugs or just whatever. You see what happens to a lot of ex-Mormons, where they're like, oh, I got to make up for lost time, and they become total hedonistic, and that's not the path to happiness, at least.
Not for a long time. Maybe for a
You
little
have a
bit.
good time for a few months or a
Yeah.
few years even, but I think eventually it catches up with you. And I consider it similar to whether it's having kids or eating food. I think Mother Nature rewards you for doing what we've evolved to need to do. So it's like a seeking pleasure, avoiding pain. And I think religion is like, okay, if I get this creature to be spiritual or religious, then he's going to have community. He's going to have friends. He's going to reproduce. He's going to reproduce a lot. I mean, you've seen spiritual people, religious people, they usually have a lot more kids.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the religion fades, they have less kids.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's probably a religious gene somewhere in there.
Interesting.
It could be polygenic, where it's a bunch of different genes, but I feel like it's such a huge advantage to be a believer, to be religious, to be, especially in war or reproduction. If you're like all united behind a religion, then you're so much more powerful than these scattered groups that don't believe in whatever. I mean, you saw that with the Crusades, with Islam conquering all of the Middle East, like just wiped out everybody. And so if you're a little like non-believer off in your little tent somewhere,
Yeah.
they're going to come, and 100 guys are going to come and hack you to death. And so those genes get weeded out, and I feel like, or you don't reproduce as much. And so I feel like,
so biologically, religious people. Okay, I get that.
they'll out reproduce. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Or a super religious group will come in and just kill everybody. That's, these free thinkers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Either through warfare or birthing, they're going to that gene.
They always
will
win.
manifest and dominate.
Yep. Every time. And so I feel like it's just like reproducing, having sex, eating delicious food. Religion, basically, Mother Nature rewards you with, you can call it fulfillment, you can call it, joy, you can call it the Holy Ghost, whatever you want to call it. It rewards you if you're doing those things. And so it pushes you towards the pleasure of being religious.
Mm-hmm.
And then it causes like, suffering, mental anguish, ostracization from other members of the tribe who are like, oh, that apostate, like he's killing the vibes. And so I feel like it's a tough question though, because as a logical person, it's like, well, I don't believe a lot of these things, and there's no proving it. However, I acknowledge that evolutionary need, that gene is in me, and so there's a balance. And so for me, my current answer is putting on the mask. So whether it's being a druid or a Viking berserker or whatever, or harnessing these different energies from these different religions, that works for me currently.
Yeah.
or whether it's going to like one of those non-denominational churches and everybody's like waving their hands up in the air, and they have limbic resonance going where they're literally like syncing up their energies and their hearts are beating in rhythm. That's another thing that I can put the mask on and experience, And
Yeah.
so you just have to feed it.
I have been trying to figure out how my religion's true for me and like what that means or whatever. It's like it's what I wanted in the sun in this sun. I don't even like the word worship. I actually am. So religion, like, all these words start to have a lot of meaning as you start to become a religious founder. Like,
Yeah.
am I a religious founder? Did I start a church?
Philosopher.
Am I a philosopher,
Yeah.
or am I a business founder? What are all these things? And I do some things that I've said out loud and then they stick with me is that I do believe we could have 8.5 billion religions, unique religions.
Yeah.
I think that's already what's actually existing. Is that I can't for any way have your beliefs and you can't have my beliefs. At some point our beliefs are going to diverge, and you have different ones. You have different experiences than I do. So I don't really want to try to park my beliefs in any one's religion because
No.
other than mine, because I think that's kind of like I don't really vote or do much politically because I don't like the idea of just subscribing once again
Political
to a
party.
whole bunch of things that
Yeah.
it does make it's like easy ways to just kind of like, oh, the Republican card, right? But it's not that is nothing, just doesn't feel true to me when I think about that. And maybe I'm gonna get eliminated my genes because I am not.
You're
I've
the
got three girls, and they're not showing interest in being too religious, or at least in the traditional sense. And so, but they are, we are trying things like we're doing gratitude for the sun when we eat food, and to the people that made it. We're incorporating religious rituals. I have never been more present at the sunsets than I have lately, and thinking and doing. I will
yeah.
drive out of my way, or go out of my way, or leave a party, or leave anything to go watch the last few minutes of the sun going down, just to make sure I kind of have this meditation and thankfulness, and then I have faith that orb is coming up the next day. And that is what I tell my kids every day. I'm like, the reason the sun's starting to be so interesting to me is I don't have to have them do a test on like, is dad like, why like, I feel like passing down a myth that is most likely unprovable is just kind of like doing this little shit test with your own family that they have to pass or not pass, and it's very dividing, and it doesn't feel like a religion should be something that separates this core unit of your offspring. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to find. I do not want to take someone else's company or invention, Joseph Smith's, in a sense, and have to like and have to roll the dice with how many of my kids will bite or not bite on that, and then have an awkward feeling between um, my own progenitors or posterity because of me trying to do this thing that's very, very conflicting with all its messaging and its
Yeah.
truth claims. And so that was the one that really, I'm like, I want to believe something that I can just, there's no denying it.
Yeah.
There's not something, I don't have to put you through this logical gambit where you have to like force yourself to believe into something in my words or go get a testimony. No, the one we're doing here it's really simple, guys. The sun is real, and I can tell you right now with a lot of faith that it's coming up tomorrow, and that it's the center of everything, and that it's why you have food in front of you and why you can see with your eyes right now. And you don't have to sit and worship. I don't want you to waste too much time like, sunburning and like, getting yourself frying your eyes. You don't have to do anything other than know that it's there, and that it illuminates everything, and be great, and just have a lot of gratitude, and you're walking under it.
Yeah.
And that I can say that to my friends, my family, everyone. I can broadcast widely without any guile, shame about my love of what the sun has done. and it's been here for a long time. It's gonna be here for a way longer time, way past all of our Jesus beliefs, way past anything.
Yeah.
All the religions of man will come and go. It's just like Zeus of old, and before that there was the sun religion. There's been that's actually what's really interesting is the sun was what most nations started with, or people or groups. And so I do think a lot of the religions are waves that will come and go, but the sun, regardless of religion or not, seems to be pretty permanent in at least the Earth's situation.
Yeah.
And even if we go to get to Mars, it's still going to be a factor. I don't know when the stars aren't basically the most important thing for life to be harnessed to. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard anything else.
Yeah,
that beats the star.
I like what you said about the Mormon Church should basically do what Jesus did and be ahead of its time.
Yeah,
because Jesus was
rebel,
centuries, thousands of years ahead of his time, and it pissed a lot of people off.
Yep,
got him killed, and but he was right. Everything he said. I think there was some slavery stuff in there that was a little questionable, but
that's a good point though. The just the core Jesus stuff, it's hard to argue with.
It's almost perfect.
No
Yeah.
matter who
he was so far ahead of his time, and everybody hated him for it. And I feel like with Mormonism or any religion, not just Mormonism, but the whole playing it safe thing and not taking risks, and like you said, jump ahead, jump 1,000 years ahead, and then people, you're going to make a lot of people angry, but everybody knows Jesus's name. Our calendar is based off of him because he was willing to take the risk,
and the sun,
and the sun, depending on the.
Every day, our watch, everything. This is another one. I went down the rabbit hole. I'm like, oh my god, everything is.
Yeah, it's
everything is centered around the sun.
It's completely connected.
Every child born, the first thing they'll probably draw on when they get a crayon is probably some sun. It's not a picture of Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad.
No, it's
praise
the sun.
His name, but you can't even draw him.
Yeah.
Or Allah, or who is it we can't draw? There's someone we can't draw there.
I think Muhammad. I don't think you're supposed to draw Allah either. I'm not sure though. Yeah.
I just think that it's. I look at the human being, going back to biology. It's like it's just very easy to explain, or not even have to explain, but to understand immediately what the sun is to life.
Yep.
And I think Jesus did. He got really close with most of the things he says to just being like, you just nod your head and like, oh yeah, love your neighbor, love, And so I do think that's the only thing I'm struggling a little bit as I think about the sun is there is no morality. I don't have any doctrine with the sun. I don't have any. There's no book. There's no rituals quite yet that I'm like feeling that anyone should do if they decide to study what me and my family are doing. I don't have anything really other than, and so I do think Jesus was great at, like, he used Hebrew, the language at the time, to put out some really good quotes.
Yeah.
Whether he did or not, whether he lived or not, I don't even know, but history has somehow preserved.
Whoever wrote it down had some pretty good ideas.
Yeah. And that's awesome. But words are what do cause a lot of conflict too. And so I'm like, how can I not even have scripture? How can I have a belief system that is basically just manifest by that with your eyes open, or just I'm trying to figure out how to go back to the very basics.
Some kind of creed or commandments or something.
Well, I do. There might be some need for morality, but it seems like every nation's already put morality into their code of laws, or there's some basic understanding that's just being human that we get. So I don't know if the church really needs to be, I don't think you need to pay any group tithes or any alms to then receive moral code.
No,
there's enough moral code been written by humans that we can go and decipher what we want.
Got a pretty good idea. Yeah. The golden rule seems to be
the golden rule is
pretty comprehensive.
Between all religions, it comes back to the golden rule. I did a deep dive on ChatGPT on that one. Every single religion,
every single one,
basically the common denominator is the golden rule.
Unless you're some weird kind of sadomasochist who likes pain.
Who likes this?
You're like, I like this, so you must like this. You want to know who my God is? It's time. And I had a bit of a revelation, or a thought at least. You know how in the Bible and in the Book of Mormon they call God eternity,
Mm-hmm.
and I almost feel like if eternity is real and time never ends, then my philosophy is that if something happens once, it can happen again. And so let's say in this universe I exist, but it takes another 100 trillion to the trillionth power for this universe to pop up again. If time is infinite, then I will be reborn, basically.
Possibly infinity times.
Yeah, infinity times. And so if infinity is true and eternity is true, then I'm immortal, basically.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like I wonder if I'm not the first person to think of this, because you hear a lot of gods being called eternity, where it's like, oh, you are eternal, you are it, you know. And so if there is an eternity, then there's no reason why the stars won't align again and I'll be back. And even if it takes an insane amount of time, it doesn't matter, because I'll be dead and I won't be witnessing the passage of it. And then I'll wake back up in the blink of an eye and I'll be back. And it just keeps going over and over and over again.
Wow.
It's kind of dark though, because I feel like I lived a pretty good life. I'm still living a good life. You know, I had a good upbringing, but I worry if my theory is true for like people who have really bad lives. And so, like, let's say they're born under the same circumstance and they suffer every time for an eternity. It's like, oh man. So in some ways, I wish eternity is true and that my God is real. But in other ways, it's like, oh man, what about the person who every time they get a bad dice roll because of the universe aligning? But
would it be? I mean, it feels very karmic. This whole, I feel like that's already a belief. Is that,
yeah, it's kind of karma. You come back,
and your time is, to me, unique. I like that, because I guess when I think of the idea of what is it called in Hinduism, when you're reincarnated, or
reincarnation.
I guess I always thought that was kind of like almost an instance, like the passing, you would come back. But your idea of eternity would be like,
I have to be me when I come back. I can't come back as a bug or a snake. That's the difference, because who I am is based on my genetics, my environment, my upbringing. And for me to come back to be resurrected, 100 trillion years in the future, it has to be me. And there's no judgment. Like, it doesn't matter what I do during my life, I'll be back. So it's with karma, it's like, oh, you were a bad person, so now you're born in the lowest caste in Hinduism and we get to treat you like trash. It's like, no, it's and to me, I feel it's more interesting than the becoming God belief or the Hindu belief where you come back as a worm.
This one, because you are eternity.
Yeah, you just keep coming back.
So are we all God? And is this happening to me too? Am I coming back?
Yeah, everybody.
In your philosophy?
Yeah.
So that's the time religion.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. One. Well, I feel like
that's my whole thing. It's like that should be your religion.
Yeah.
And you call it philosophy, whatever that religion looks like. You're doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm pretty loud about it. And if you want to get loud too, you could get missionaries. You could get you get watches. Everyone gets some watches that are just built for your situation. We could do a collab, a sun watch, sundial. So we could actually, time and the sun could be getting together.
I mean, they're right on top of each other, right? Because the sun is basically time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think about time. I do think about time a lot because it does seem to be the it's up there with religion that it's it can't. It's like unattainable, and like there's no one's been able to manipulate it. I've actually
Yeah.
wrote a big essay on time, and I'm gonna
Oh,
find it. I
really?
want to find it for
I want
you
to read that.
because
Yeah.
it's one of those things that, like, of course it's oh, I don't even know how to even describe it
Well, one
because
of
I don't
the
even know what time. I still haven't figured out what time is.
one theory of time, what time is it's heat. So if you get down to absolute zero
Mm-hmm.
Kelvin, electrons stop spinning, and so everything freezes. And so if you have no heat, you can't. Nothing moves forward. Stuff stops spinning. And so I don't think they've ever got to that cold before. But the idea is that if
Who's they?
scientists who basically try and get something as cold as they possibly can.
Okay.
But the idea is yeah, like whereas you're saying sun and time are related,
Oh, that sounds like the opposite.
their sun heat pushes time.
Yeah.
It's like without heat, nothing moves forward, and time doesn't move. And
Oh,
so
wow.
without stars, without the sun, nothing can move forward. So they're definitely linked.
Well, here.
That's the theory anyway.
Yeah.
That
So,
heat.
so in empty space, what is the temperature up there?
I don't know exactly how cold it gets. I may be wrong with the absolute zero thing, but basically the idea is if it gets cold enough, time stops moving. But
Yeah.
even in deep space,
Yeah.
there's still
Something.
heat. There's
Heat.
still stuff moving around, and I'm pretty sure we've gotten cold enough, or we've gotten colder than deep space, like
Yeah.
just with equipment, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, stuff starts. We've slowed stuff down. You can slow down time by making things really cold. I'm pretty sure we haven't stopped
And it
time.
does feel that time seems to be relative to your size and mass.
Yeah.
In that, like, there's stuff going down at the atomic level that it looks like fast forward down there.
Yeah.
And then if I were to watch like a Godzilla fight Mothra, it looks like they're a little slower than the little guys inside of me. I don't know what if
Stuff's
that's real or
moving
not.
fast down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. The smaller it is, yeah, and the bigger it is, it seems to. Yeah, and that's
It's like 2-3x, listening to Audible down there.
yeah.
So how does that happen? And
Yeah.
the time the smaller you get, this time
Yeah.
change. The
Yeah.
quicker the ninja skills get upgraded.
I'm not a physicist, but I do know that yeah, the faster you go, the slower time goes, and I wonder if that has to do with heat. But and I also know that near gravity, time moves slower the heavier things are.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's messing with electron spinning. Basically, if you're next to a supermassive black hole, everything's moving slower. Those electrons are moving around the atoms slower. Gravity's slowing it down. Maybe.
It is weird that the opposite of a bright burning sun is a supermassive black hole. And there's the only thing that really does frighten me for whatever reason it was black holes in like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Or the heat death of the sun where it all of a sudden becomes a supernova.
Yeah.
Um,
Eventually it's going to happen.
yeah,
We'll have to move.
It has to happen, and it does feel appropriate that my God blows up.
Eventually it's going to explode. Yeah, well, it could just be,
and then maybe it resurrects,
changing forms.
Yeah.
I love black holes. It's such a cool concept, though.
Yeah.
Like, because gravity's basically like a sheet of paper, and if stuff gets heavy enough, it just falls through the piece of paper, and who knows what's on the other side of that piece of paper. It's I love space stuff.
Because we just don't have the right view.
You just can't. I mean, everything the gravity in there is so intense that everything gets close to it, like light and everything, gets distorted, and
we just don't know. no one can answer with any
There's,
real
I read some paper recently that theorizes that we're inside a supermassive black hole based on
rad.
how physics
Of
are
course,
working. But
of course, there's infinite black holes, and we're in
and we're in
infinite of
another
them.
one. Yeah.
It's just, of course,
Well,
eternity in all directions.
yeah. I'm all about that. As long as anything that bolsters my theory that eternity is real, I'm all about it.
And it's like, if this is the black hole, it's awesome. Let's keep going.
It's a good
Like, yeah,
ride.
it's like,
Yeah.
now I'm not afraid of black holes anymore. You just made me overcome one of my fears. And
Yeah.
so whatever media has done to make me think black holes are bad, now I'm like, I'm in it right now, and I'm having the best time of my life,
Yeah.
and I'm doing this for the rest of my life times eternity.
There's no need to be afraid of it. You're in it.
Oh man. Well, maybe in a year I'll update you on the religion and give you an inventory of how many members we
Yeah.
have
No,
and
I want
what
to.
a
I want to
ritual.
know.
Yeah.
I'll come to your sacred grove
there's no
experience.
the only thing I'm doing in the religion is I'm creating a 365 day sun journal that I want to gift to anyone
Oh, cool.
and that wants it. And so it's just a way, and there'll be prompts in there, just things about this, just things that are using words, whether it be English or symbols or whatever language. But probably little writing prompts that allow you to think and then maybe write openly of
Yeah.
stuff. And I really think writing is important. Just the act of putting pencil or pen to paper feels very present, very and then that you have to use a lot of times sunlight allows you to write. It's like illuminating. You can do it outside, and so I'm gonna figure out how that might be my only scripture that people write.
Write your own.
Yeah, write
Yeah.
their scripture, and then no money is exchanged. I've had enough of that one. I think when a religion gets too involved with money, it's I do believe there's like that priestcraft thing that it's talked about in religion.
Yeah.
I do believe when a religion is trying to figure out how to make more money, it just feels to me, it speaks to my being again as not being correct.
Corrupts.
I don't know what that is. So I'll never be trying to ask for money. If anyone ever was trying to give the money, it's like I would just redirect them, like, go start a religion.
Yeah.
If you want to give money away, this is a perfect time for you to you can copy word for word my religion if you
Start
want,
your own
and
religion.
then just give it to yourself. But go out and do stuff. But I will try to figure out what rituals and things will happen. I do want to keep writing about it and seeing how it will come together, and do some things where people where people can unite and build community, because there is a loss of community once you leave a big religion, one of the main ones.
It's a nasty one.
So, yeah, there's a lot of, so I'm going to try to figure out how to build community. If anything, I want to do a conference where everyone brings their religions to a place and talks about them and shares them. So almost like a massive conference of unique individual religions, so that we can all, whether we need to go to war together or like we should have some of the benefits of religion inside
I
of this
agree.
religion, and
That's a
it
good
could be
idea.
and so and then one of the other things that I'm really excited about is actually the saving of, so instead of not just, so I'll actually tell you real fast and end on this. I was driving around, I was seeing all the churches out on the farm fields out by my house.
Yeah.
Mormon churches, old ones, and then brand new ones. And I know that the Mormon church is encouraging people to study and worship at home. So you only go to the Mormon church, like they're going to like 1 hour a week now. That's kind of like where they're pushing
Wow.
it's 2 hours. It used to be 3, or it used to be 4 or 5 when my parents were alive. Now it's 3, now it's 2. They're going to go to 1.
Yeah.
And they got rid of the Boy Scouts, which was like what you do on a Wednesday night. And so there's just not a lot of activity.
Wow.
Buildings are not a lot going on there. I mean, it's not that they're not, but they're just underutilized. And yet they're receiving full benefit of no taxation on the property that they're on. And you're not receiving that as a member. So if you're in the collective of the Mormon Church, all that savings goes back to the Corporation of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and they get to enjoy the appreciation of real estate and all the tax-free status. And yet they're asking the members to go home and worship at their houses. And I just started thinking about that's just like, seems like I'm not getting the benefit that the church body's getting yet I'm using my house as a place of worship.
As a church.
And so I just, started thinking and talking, and sure enough, I can avoid all taxes by making a church. And I'm like, that's what all the churches do.
Yeah.
And if I'm founding a church, I'm going to do that. So I now, I'm going to not pay property taxes because I'm doing the very thing that church building does with my family. I have ministers living there full time. I've got people coming over and doing yoga, worshiping the sun, doing sun salutations. Like all that's good. Good. I just have to keep. I just have to keep attendance. That's the only thing I have to do for tax purposes, and that's thousands and thousands. In my situation, since I live on a ranch, it's a car a year. It's like a nice brand new car a year that I get to save.
Wow.
So I feel like I'm actually participating in one of the benefits of America and Utah being an incubator for religious freedoms.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to subscribe that over to another corporation when I should be participating in the benefits of religious freedom,
right?
Which is the same benefits they receive of no taxation.
And you're modernizing it and everything and making it more palatable. And
everyone can do this. Every single person should seek a way to do the exact same thing I'm doing, especially if they're being asked to worship at their home. And by the way, religions can stack. Just like you have a playlist of all your favorite songs, that should be your religion. So stay Mormon. Go join the Catholics. You should be able to do whatever you want and have as many favorite songs as you can in your playlist. And if they're going to try to get mad and say you can't be that and that, then that to me is a sign of someone there's other incentives and other things going on if you're not able to compound your religious beliefs. And so I think you can stack your religions and be Mormon, start your own religion, get out of some taxation. If it could really help a lot of families not paying property tax or other things. And so I'm just like, my religion is it's not don't give me money. It's actually go get yourself some savings.
Yeah. I'm not saying this is the same thing, but I know there's a theory that the only reason Tom Cruise is a Scientologist is for tax purposes.
Brilliant. I sure hope that's the only reason, honestly.
Because apparently what he does is whenever he makes a movie, his entire salary goes to a church. Scientology church. And then the Scientology church gives him back what he needs, as a priest of Scientology, which is probably pretty much everything. Apparently, John Travolta, all these people, it's just a big elaborate way to get out of paying taxes. But no, I mean, you see why churches are tax free though, because they do a lot of good, right? And so if you're building up your community and providing community, that's more important than most things. And so I don't see anything wrong with providing free.
I have gardens that are growing things under the sun that I'm giving out to neighbors. I'm doing amazing things in my barn with movement and mindfulness. I feel like my religion already has way more member benefits than what I was grew up with. Yeah. But the Mormon Church has some great benefits. They do they have activities for the youth.
For sure. I'd say it's all good now. The only part that's
I have to.
The only part that's bad, I feel, is like when you exclude people. The irony is like they're all about families being together, but then they don't let people in the temples. They kick out.
Very very exclusive, very dividing.
They don't.
And everyone that's been in it knows someone's divided from that. There's no one that has a non-division story.
No, and so like when I say it's all good, I mean like the community aspect of it, but it's just like that people can't reconcile with the history, and if you're not a member, you can't attend weddings, that kind of stuff. But at its core is really good, I feel.
I do think that it's very problematic to have a worthiness aspect where people are interviewing for impure sexual thoughts.
I've heard they're getting rid of that.
Oh, really?
Like, the whole interview with the bishop thing, your daughter or whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently that's gone.
No, it's still there.
Is it still there? Really?
Maybe it's disappearing. Actually, I don't know.
Okay,
actually,
but recently it was. But I've heard there's too many accusations.
Their lawyers, Kurt McConkey's got to be like, we really need to figure out how to get some new revelation on this interview thing.
Like the using guilt to control people and stuff.
That's such a nasty practice that Mormonism. I don't think they tried to lead with it, but they just never really fleshed it out. Especially when you have the temple. So the thing is the temples are their best monetization, because there's worthiness clause to being able to enter them. That's how they divide is is in the temple, and they make the temple the most important thing, and then you have to be worthy to enter it. So basically, drinking coffee is not going to get you a ticket into the thing, and it's just that the whole thing to me just feels very problematic in the long run,
outdated.
And I'm over in Japan, and every Shinto temple is open, and they're beautiful, and I had so much peace there. And my little daughter went at 7 years old. She went and lit up one of the incense and put it there and clapped and did the thing. And I'm watching her intuitively pick up how to do a worship in an open. There's a museum out of Hiroshima on this island, and it was at the top of this mountain.
I've been there,
and I was just like, and this was a moment where I'm like, this is worship. This is what
out
I
in
want.
nature, and
totally in her parameters. No one's telling her, stopping her, saying that's not how you do it. Fold your arms, close your eyes. No, it wasn't. It was just a child expressing her serenity in this beautiful place that was open to every language, every person, without some bishop's interview or something like that. So happy to see that.
Yeah. Apparently, excommunication is very rare now too. They used to excommunicate you for. That's what my dad was saying anyway. He's still really active, but yeah, I think they are adapting. But like you said, they should be gangster and be like Jesus.
Come out and just with something that's like, we weren't going to launch this until 2400 or 2400, but Revelation told us like, we're not going to be robophobic. We're adapting. Robots will now be full standing members of the church. Can't hold the priesthood.
That's a good one.
And I'd be like, oh damn, they saw this humanoid thing coming very soon, and now their tendency is like, for every Elon humanoid Tesla robot, they're now members of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter Saints too. And I'm like, okay, these guys saw the future. I might have to go back.
That's what you got to do, man.
Watch this podcast and go like, oh shoot, we got the idea from Scott and John Paul.
They're like, you need to erase that from the internet. This is our revelation.
They buy it. They just buy the podcast outright to bury it. It's like, we're making an offer of $4 million for the podcast.
I'd listen to a robot priest
all day long. I'm basically doing it right now. Who isn't doing that right now?
I'm addicted to AI.
Everybody's getting therapy right now from AI.
It's a real problem.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it's a good thing.
I don't know. That's going to edit this right now, the stuff we're saying, and it's going to make it easy. And that could have been hours and hours of work.
Make my work
hang out with your family. So
significantly easier. Yeah. Well, thanks, Scott, for coming by. This was really great.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And if you want a link to your religion, I'll put it in the description.
All right, I'll figure out. I'll put the blog post.
Blog post. Yeah. So we can get some PR for you. Make sure this isn't.
I don't want PR. Natalie doesn't want a single member. My wife's like, don't advertise it.
Get these people away from me.
Well, no, she just doesn't. She does not.
Yeah.
I think she saw the life of Emma Smith and doesn't really want that one happening.
Like, I've seen this before.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, stop me if you've heard this one.
You're trying to bring all these girls into our barn.
It's like, God told me to do this. The sun told me while you were sleeping. Sorry for you. You're going to be destroyed otherwise. And hopefully you'll come back and we'll do this again.
All right. It's a lovely time.
Definitely one of the best. Yeah.
Thanks, JP.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Can't send this one to the family.
Oh yeah, I'm saying.